Watch out! Old guy packs a punch.
Won't make it that easy.
The rest of you have to, but we need you. Getting hot down here.
Need to go out.
Our assault is a success thanks to your courage and sacrifice. The Rebel Alliance is honored to have you. We've lured the local Tatooine garrison into attacking us. Expect their advanced troops any minute now. We'll defend the area by holding these positions. Don't lose any of them to the Imperials, or we'll be forced to retreat.
Grenade out! Scrambler.
Sometimes I amaze even myself. I've got a bad feeling. Yeah, it could work. Bet you I win. That's the ball. A Jedi Knight. It's all about timing. Don't get too close. Look at these guys. Chewie says he's... You all right? Wish me luck. Any second now. Improvise explosives. I blame you for this.
I blame myself. I can live with it.
This'll be loud.
Get back!
I'll handle old and ugly. That's the ball. It's gonna work.
We've shown that Tatooine is ready to rise against its tormentors. The Imperials are falling back, and I'm sure they'll think twice before returning. assault will deliver a strong blow against the Empire. Ready yourselves, and may the Force be with you.
Grenade out!
We have to capture position before the attack can continue.
Grenade out!
Luke Skywalker has joined the battle.
What are you looking at? I know what I'm doing. Sorry for the trouble. All right? I blame you for getting me involved.
I blame myself. I can live with it.
You know I'm worth more alive. A Jedi Knight! It could work. You've seen what I have. Don't scare me. A Jedi Knight.
I'm ready for anything.
I'm in this for the money. Don't get too close.
Our assault is a success thanks to your courage and sacrifice. The Rebel Alliance
Equal hook at the end of this creepypasta. As far as I'm aware, there was never any other sequels written by this author to find out what the other games were or why there was like the child experimentation thing going on. That's just all left up in the air. I'm sure all of it would have been thoroughly stupid and perhaps thoroughly weird. That, but also probably would have been some top quality cringe as well, so it's a shame. The Stray. It was a sunny summer afternoon when I had finally crammed the last box into our new house. This house was a lot closer to my mother's work, so I guess it was just a lot more convenient. It was a very nice neighborhood with nice people, unlike the neighborhood we moved from. Our old neighbors would file noise complaints when there was nothing going on. That was because they just hated us. Even though the new neighborhood was nice, there was one thing about it that seemed off. Everything was just a little too nice. I don't know how to put it into words, but everyone seemed a little too excited than they should have been getting new neighbors. I guess that was because so many people were suddenly moving out. I asked the neighbors why they were moving out, and they said it was because one of the neighbors recently went missing, and there was no trace. When winter was just starting to roll in, we noticed that there was a male stray dog roaming around in the 3-foot deep snow. We did not think much of it because we had seen stray dogs in the city. We thought if we just ignored it and did not feed it, maybe it would leave us alone. The day after we first saw the stray, it was on our porch. It was just lying there, panting. It was a rather thin dog. We think it was malnourished. We called the local pound to take the dog in
This assault
and
will
nurse it
deliver a
back to
strong
health.
blow against
Before
the
they
Empire.
arrived, the dog ran
Ready
away,
yourselves,
leaving a trail of
and may
footprints
the
through the
Force be
snow.
with you.
The dog catchers followed the dog's footprints in the snow, but they seemed to stop in an open field. The next day, we saw the dog
We
again.
have to capture
This time,
position
it had a
before the
bloody
attack
sword in
continues.
its mouth. He was quite carrying it around everywhere he went. Once again, he called the dog catcher, but that dog was too smart to talk. That was when he gave up trying to catch that dog. If those incompetent dog catchers could not catch a big, skinny dog, are they even qualified to catch any dog? A few days later, we went on a vacation. It was only an overnight trip, but I don't want to give any details. When we came back, a few things in the house were knocked over. We looked around and nothing was missing. Someone had broken into our house, and we were kind of worried. Someone
Grenade
knew
out!
we were gone, even though we had our car outside, and did everything we could to make it look like we were still there. We called the police. We told them everything we knew. While detectives dusted for prints, there were none. We saw that dog again, but this time it was thinner than last time. My parents went to work and took me to school like normal. There was not anything else that was necessarily different about that day until we got home. There was a bloody squirrel in the front porch. We knew it was that dog. However, we could not do anything about it for now. We disposed of the squirrel and life went on. It was a very cold morning, colder than most. We found that dog lying on our porch, but this time he was quite fat. His teeth
We
had a
stand together.
reddish tint. He was sitting there, licking his chops. There were some dog paw prints in the snow behind him. We decided to follow the footprints to see where they were coming from. They led to a small cave. Inside of that cave, we saw a dead body lying face down with a hiking backpack nearby. We immediately called the police. The police followed us to the cave and did an autopsy. The man died of a heart condition. The man was named Jeremy Jensen. We did not know him, but we still felt sorry for him. He appeared to have been dead for a while. He had a rather large hole in his stomach. He was found and froze. It was then that I realized why the dog was suddenly so fat. We started keeping a rifle in the house in case the stray dog showed up. We did not want to be the next victims. We did not see the dog the man alluded to. We thought that the dog catchers finally caught him, or maybe animal control put him down. But we still kept the rifle just in case. Things were slowly going back to normal. At this point, I had not seen the dog in a month. We all agreed to put the rifle in the closet, in case we invited someone over, so they would not feel threatened. Bro, I just gotta stop right here and say two things. Number one, this story is written in such a way, like such a matter-of-fact way of writing a sentence. It's one of the most boring, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this happened. That stories, I hate this type of writing. It's fucking awful. But also, what do you mean? Where were you having the fucking gun beforehand?
We got it.
Like, in your hands at all times? What, did you, why did you have on the couch? Where are you putting it normally if not in the closet? But, more time passed and we thought we were all safe. However, one thing colder than most, I was in bed when I suddenly woke up. There, standing over me, was the Stray. He knew he put the gun away. I shoved the dog out of the way and started for the closet with the gun inside. I took it out and then I looked away and pulled the trigger. Click, nothing happened. I pulled the trigger again. Click, it wasn't loaded. The dog was getting closer. So I grabbed the gun by the barrel and swung with all my might. Whack! A single broke over the dog's head. Fell to the floor unconscious. The crash woke up my parents, who were absolutely shocked. We called the dog catcher to take away the dog and dispose of his body. We still don't know how the dog possibly managed to break into our house. Twice for that matter. But now the Stray is dead. We have not had a break-in since then. And that was at least 5 years ago. One day I saw a dog that was rather similar roaming through the street. He reminded me of the Stray. I asked my neighbors if they remember it, and they asked me what it looked like. I told them what it looked like, and they explained how they had always seen a dog like that a few years back in the graveyard, lying beside a tombstone, presumably of its owner. I asked them. They took me to an open field and showed me the gravestone. It said Jeremy Jensen, 1982-2009. The dog, too, was there. So far, this is what I have pieced together. Jeremy Jensen and the dog were on a hike, and then he died in a cave of a heart attack. The dog ran around looking for help, but no avail. The dog became more and more thin, and eventually started stealing food from his houses. The dog eventually gave up and got desperate for food, even resorted to the large area around the owner's stomach to survive. Nobody in my family will ever forget this disturbing story, and its memories still come back to haunt us on a day-to-day basis. The end. I'll be honest with you guys, I have no fucking idea what it's pasta. All pasta was at the bottom of this iceberg. I mean, I guess it is really bad, but it's kind of bad in like one of those, okay, like that's the story. It's like really matter of fact and not really interestingly written at all. There's not any real hook, there's no twist, it's very straightforward, and just kind of exists overall. That kind of reminds me just a little bit of Eilish Jack in that writing style. I mean, Eilish Jack is way worse than this, I'd say, but also probably more interesting than this one. So, yeah, what next? I investigate disturbing cases here on my stories. Written by Brian Young, this is one of those series that started out on the NoSleep subreddit and follows a paranormal investigator and what cases he ends up getting himself into and needing to solve. Although I guess technically he's just a normal detective, but all the stories in this series are paranormal. There are 5 episodes to this series, being titled The Tall Woman, The Watchers, The Hermit, Hammerhead, and Voices from Nature. Follows a no-nonsense detective who is very much aware of the dark reality of his job. The first chapter opening with, quote, "Is there one case that haunts me? It was just one case, and whoever they isn't doing their business. They know the temptation.
For me?
You aren't dealing with that gentleness. You're dealing with the cold parts for the door. Every now and again, you get an easy fix, and the missing truth just so happens to get a friend's house. Or the argument turned bad, and the bullet just so happens to miss everybody. Open and shut. Everyone goes home with a smile on their face, or at least the life they live. But that's not the norm. Something you learn quickly from this job is how different we are. Each person taking you down a wholly unique path, filled with their own challenges. Each time you try and understand the person you're dealing with, and most of the time, you don't really do. You will solve the case. You've opened doors that you might be shut. Just like that, you're now involved in the lives of people that extend beyond the court date. Someone doesn't stop being dead after a guilty verdict. A woman doesn't stop crying after her abuser has been sentenced. And a person doesn't stop being missing just because you moved on to another case. At the end of the day, if you can't cope with being haunted by what will eventually amount to a hell of a lot more than one case, then this isn't the job for you. That being said, when the case of a missing girl was casually dropped on my desk one rainy August afternoon, I was less than reluctant to make it a priority, unquote. I'm not going to go into hyper detail about these stories, mainly because, I want to finish this video sometime soon, and these are all rather long stories. But the point is it doesn't start off as a paranormal investigation, but a simple missing persons report. One that leads our detective to realize that there are things beyond the police's ability to stop. Creatures, anomalies, things that go bump in the night, such as a tall woman that crawls on all fours like a spider, kidnapping children in the area, or a strange old man who enjoys watching people from windows, appearing late in the night in the reflection, and is then gone just as quickly. There's an overall sense of real danger, as this isn't one of those stories where the police investigators take out the evil presence, but rather confirm that it is one of those things, hide it from the public, and get whoever it is they are targeting out of the area. Find convenient excuses for them moving to a new home. The whole thing is pretty immersive and deals with themes of the truth, conspiracy, and where it all lies, and how ultimately powerless we are to these forces beyond our known world, and whether or not these things should be known to the wider public. It's a pretty damn good set of stories that I highly recommend.
Democrat Michael Lasher worked with Governor Hochul to raise the minimum wage and pass House.
Oh shit. This is it. The center. We're so close. All sense of perception is starting to break down. I'm starting to break down. But when entities born from the imagination of others, demons created from the subconscious, protectors of the dream machine, we must be swift. Even the most corny of creepypasta characters are uniquely powerful in this space. But you see, they aren't the actual characters here anymore, but rather the idea, the phantom perception. These characters. I guess what I'm saying is, if you don't want to get fucked raw in the ass by Jeff the Killer, we need to hurry. Rouge.exe. Yes, you heard that right. Rouge.exe. If you're somebody that is already in the know, if you understand we're about to read one of the most atrociously put together things that's ever been passed off as a creepypasta. If you don't know, well, I guess I just told you, didn't I? You know, sadly enough, I did want to look into this one and see if I could find the author, more information about Rouge.exe, but I couldn't find any information about it, sadly enough. That being said, it is super short, so why don't we go ahead and give it a read, eh? Quote, "Hey, my name is Christopher Williams. I am a big fan of Rouge the Bat, and I about to made Rouge call her Dark Rouge EXE. Made by Gmod. I find a perfect picture to crit. I got scare of her right now in way she eat people. In shock, people blood out. She was white in Gary old picture. In her sister is White Rouge. She is powerful lady. She hurt people. I kill. To her line is I am Dark Rouge, and I go take your heart out and white one. I am White Rouge. I will suck your soul out. She found Knuckles. In Knuckles turned head. In she got a creepy smile. Her face in her sister to Denny about our powerful of Tur Darkness. I think I made her in Gmod in my computer. Start bring picture of Rouge EXE. The one in Smile Rose head got cut off by Dark Rouge. And 2 is Amy Rose was walking with Sally and Ron, and they saw Dark Rouge and White Rouge. They were start walking to them. Amy and Sally run and screaming loud. They stopped running. They saw Sonic EXE, and I said, Sonic, what you doing there? And he said to them, you're too slow, and you cannot escape from them. In Dark Rouge and White Rouge attacking them and eat them. To in Sonic laughing, I said, go by Amy. And Sally start laughing again, so I got to straight how to kill Amy and Sally that are good people. I said, why?
It's all about timing.
I start cry. I turn off my computer. I see a dark and white outside my windows. And then he start a creepy smiley and bleed teeth and bloody pick. Black eye, one dark rouge eye in pitch black in red. They bout disappearing, and I don't believe it ever. I never start making horror stuff no more. I start dreaming about them. Dream is dark black, and I was in there with Sonic and 2 sister, and they said, we are God now, and we are going to eat you. And creepy Ben drowned behind me. I said, Ben, what are you doing here? They all eat me. I woke up. I saw a dark rouge in my bed. Never see her and her sister again. The end. Do I need to say anything about this? Do I need to be snarky internet owlman for this one? I mean, what the fuck? Do you even know what I just read? Do you have any fucking idea what was just told to you? How many minutes did I just spout off random fucking nonsense to you? How long did you listen to that? Did you catch any of that? Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you noticed the background footage right now, you might have caught, that didn't stop people from making Rouge.exe fan art and Rouge.exe fan games. Yes, the bar was apparently exceedingly low, because like Saw.exe, I mean, it's kind of a bad story, but hey, I mean, it's fucking Shakespeare compared to this. Sally.exe, pretty bad, pretty fucking weird, dumb, lazy-ass story. Don't know. It's looking pretty fucking good compared to what I just read. Now, this is also why I wanted to try to figure out who the author of this story was. Not to shame them necessarily, but maybe to get some insight as to if this was a troll pasta, which kind of makes sense given what it is, or if this is just one of the worst things anyone has ever written and attempted to put on, like the wiki. It's probably made by some child, probably, but I guess we'll never know, unless someone out there happens to know. But, moving on, Hell.exe. Hell.exe. No, really, Hell.exe. This is where we have found ourselves. Though, funnily enough, this EXE story doesn't really have a lot in common with other EXE stories. It's actually a lot more like a ritual creepypasta. In fact, it just basically is one, but with like an EXE thrown in there as a little bit of a twist of lime. And it is, of course, based on a ritual on how to see hell. And, see what hell looks like, I guess. That's the ritual. And, well, to put it bluntly, it's pretty fucking stupid. Quote, have you ever wondered if it is possible to visit the afterlife without actually dying? The saying goes that if you can only go to heaven or hell if you're dead, but this is not entirely true. You can indeed have a brief visit to the afterlife and meet your dead friends, relatives, and even meet God. Sounds good, right? But there is one catch. It's not exactly easy. Many who have returned changed as individuals.
This assault
Some
will
even
deliver a
chose
strong
to
blow
take their
against the
own
Empire.
lives
Ready
afterwards.
yourselves.
Many
may
lost
the
their
Force be with
sanity,
you.
and only a small percentage remained
Grenade
what
out.
you'd call sane after the journey, even though all refused to
An
describe
Imperial
what they
position
saw.
needs to be
I'm
captured before we can
different.
advance.
I have been to
Get
both
ready to
heaven
attack.
and hell several times, and in this article I'm going to describe how to visit hell and meet some of your dead relatives that have sinned throughout their mortal lives. For the journey, you will need to be a well-rounded individual with a strong mentality. Otherwise, you will not be able to cope with what you see. Most importantly, you will need to have killed somebody at least once in your life before you practice. Unquote. Wait. So, okay, if all of this is real, why would you kill someone? I mean, doesn't that kind of defeat the point? You might imagine that if you want to see hell from a semi-safe position, or in such a way that you don't end up there for eternity, you wouldn't do something that would make you end up going there for eternity. If you have to kill someone, then won't you end up going to hell when you die anyway? Especially if you kill someone with the express purpose of going to hell? Also remember that this guy said that he's been to heaven and hell several times. He's able to describe what he saw. Remember this specifically because it's going to be a bit of a sticking point later on. But moving on, here are the instructions. Quote, first, you head to your nearest church from 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. on a Sunday night. If the door is locked, you entering somehow. If impossible, then try the second closest church. Once inside, approach the altar and kneel down in a praying position. Then in a monotone voice, repeat this following scripture clearly. Volo, Viseri, Param, Ubi, Crucia, Bitior, Igni, Et,
Tell me you've got
Sulfa,
X-Wings coming.
Quad,
I was hoping you'd bring a fresh army.
I don't know how to fucking stop, okay? I don't know how to fucking read these words. Let's move on. If done correctly, you can fall asleep instantly and wake up in your room. On the edge of your bed should be a piece of paper. On the piece of paper, there should be a link to a website. This link varies from person to person. Find an old computer with no fucking internet connections or any means of communication imaginable to know your location. Boot up the computer and load up an internet browser and enter the link. Despite the lack of internet connections, you should be directed to a blank page with a hyperlink in the middle stating your name and date of death. Whatever you do not click on the hyperlink. Instead, save the page and view the HTML file in Notepad. Scroll to the bottom of the document, and there should be an address. Make sure you write this down. Once you've finished with the computer, take it as far away as you can. Destroy it and never return to the church to visit it again. A week later, visit the address you wrote down, and it should be an old abandoned warehouse that was never there before. Do not enter this building yet, but instead knock on the door exactly 6 times. If any more or less, you'll be greeted by the devil himself, and you will be damned to a place far worse than hell. If all is well, an old man should open the door and hand you a blank CD with the words hell.txt written onto it. Run this on another PC if you're willing to sacrifice with no inward or outward communication. On the CD should be 2 files, Diablo.jpg and hell.exe. Do not fucking do Diablo.jpg. It will cause you to rip your own eyes out. Don't worry, it does not have a company. Just run hell.exe. Instantly, your monitor should start flickering, and gruesome pictures of the mutilated corpses of your dead relatives should flash quickly on and off your screen. Then a window should pop up with 2 buttons, one saying come and one saying leave. Now is your last chance to turn back. If you want to visit hell, then click come. If not, click leave. and you will fall unconscious and wake up in your bedroom with no memory. Hell.exe even existed, and all evidence of its existence will be lost. If the shows come, the window will close and the computer will spontaneously combust along the CD. Do not leave the room you're in. Just let the flames spread until the heat knocks you unconscious. You should wake up on a hospital bed in a dark room with no clothes on. Do not get out of the bed. Just lay there. After about 5 minutes, 2 people should enter the room. I cannot put any fear on this. Just keep your eyes tight shut when they approach your bed. If you look at them even once, they will rip you to pieces. They will discuss in familiar voices how unfortunate your death was and describe it in complete detail. This applies to the date of death you found on the website. Cover your ears if you do not want to hear your own fate. Afterwards, they should leave the room hastily. Wait about 10 minutes, then exit the room. Once you've exited the room, you should be in a very long corridor with the lights out. Start walking down the corridor. Once you have walked about 3 kilometers, all the lights should turn off. When this happens, run. Run as fast as you can down the corridor until you reach a fire escape door. Throw yourself through the door at full force and then slam the door shut behind you as soon as you burst through. You are now in limbo. Unquote. From here, limbo is described in detail as well as hell, and how you apparently need to cut out your own eyes because you shouldn't be able to see anything here or else you'll go mad. But, that sort of feels like it defeats the point, right? I thought you did all this to see hell. Now you just get in there to hear and feel and smell it, I guess. I mean, why not just close your eyes and jump into a fucking garbage can in the hot summer day or something? Same fucking difference. Guess what I'm asking is why the fuck would anyone do this? Usually with these rituals, there's something to be gained. And even knowledge is at least something, and this doesn't even really seem like knowledge. It just really seems like a really crazy dream that you can't see anything with. You're not allowed to look at any of the creepy shit. So what's the point? Well, at any rate, the guy does go on to describe hell, and at one point forgets that he cut his own eyes out because he then describes what it fucking is. Nothing special, though it is really sudden and just completely not an agent of the devil now randomly at the end. We also never get to hear a description of heaven either. That's just something they just bring up at the beginning and it's never addressed again. Even though he went to limbo, you figure he'd like take a look at both. I don't know, fucking anomaly. So this one came upon a set of eerie photos with unsettling backstories. They had all come from an old man who had a set of rare archival photos, all of which were anomalies, as noted before, and he wanted to have them published, though he would only have one photo sent to them at a time, as he was very protective and became a rather grueling task to play the same song and dance with the guy with each individual photo. And after all that work, a private buyer ended up offering a far higher price for the photo collection than they could provide as a publishing company. And while they tried to appeal to him as a historian, in the end money won out, and they were forced to legally delete all their copies of the photos. However, our author always secretly stows away pictures and the like on their own personal computer whenever they're working on these sorts of projects, mostly for messing with colors, fonts, and the like with the pictures. But now, after months of hard work all going down the drain in an instant, they decided it was best to share these photos and with the pictures. But now, after months of hard work all going down the drain in an instant, they decided it was best to share these photos and their stories online for all to see, as a bit of a fuck you and revenge to the guy that made them waste all their time over the last several months, but also because they are rather interesting and historically significant. They then go on to describe the photos, which you'll be able to see on screen here as the stories are relayed. Quote, photo 114, the Collingwood Fire. This is the last known photo taken inside the Lakeview School in Collingwood, Ohio, before it was consumed by fire on March 4th, 1908, killing 172 students, 2 teachers, and 1 rescuer. The fire started when a ceiling joist ignited from a nearby steam pipe. Flames blocked escape routes, leading to panic and a stampede that trapped a large number of victims in a stairwell, where they were cooked alive. Additional casualties were incurred when burning students jumped on second and third story windows. Everyone in this photo perished, except for Mr. Olson, seated at the far right in the back row. The spectral artifacts in the photo remain unexplained. Photo 2 of 14. Charlie Mooney's last interview. Charlie Mooney was an amateur folklorist who traveled through the South and southwestern United States during the early years of the 20th century, collecting tall tales and stories of the supernatural. According to his wife, Ellie, Charlie was told a story one day by an Oklahoma farmer about a strange woman who lived alone on an isolated property in the Panhandle. The farmer claimed the woman was not a woman at all, but something else, something that hid its true nature beneath a headscarf and was never seen without a large dog by its side. Newman was apparently intrigued enough to try searching for the woman during one of his research road trips. He was never seen again. Ellie Newman was later contacted by a Tulsa pawnbroker who remembered reading about her husband's disappearance in the papers after finding his name engraved on a camera sold to him by Entertainment. The pawnbroker returned the camera, and Mrs. Newman had the film inside developed in hopes of finding a clue as to his whereabouts. This was the only photo of the roll. Unfortunately, neither the location of the property nor the name of the farmer who told him the story was recorded in Newman's notes. Photo 3 of 14. The death of John Olsted. This prophetically torn photograph depicts a regimental color guard of the Union Army, 1 month before they marched into battle at Antietam, September 1862. The gentleman on the far right, John Olsted, had the right side of his face and right arm blown off by cannon fire at the start of those hostilities. It is unknown exactly when the damage to the photo occurred. Photo 4 of 14. The Axeman of New Orleans. Edouard Martel was an unsuccessful French photographer and inventor who traveled throughout the U.S. during the first 2 decades of the 20th century, trying to drum up interest and investors for a device that added timer and automatic exposure features to Kodak's popular line of folding Brownie cameras. During his travels, he took thousands of automated photos to test and refine his invention. Often, he would wake up early, set up a hidden camera in an inconspicuous spot on the streets of whatever city he happened to be in, and then walk to a nearby cafe or bar so that he could capture candid scenes of daily life to remember his travels by. The best of these photos were selected for Martel's one and only gallery show in Paris 1924. Unfortunately, Martel died penniless and unknown in 1955, and was left to his daughter Jean to sort through the boxes and boxes of photos he left behind to see what should be kept and what could be discarded. During this process, she came across this photo, taken in New Orleans on the morning of October 28th, 1919, a few hours before Martel boarded a steamer ship and returned to France. It turns out that Martel hated motion blurs in his photographs because he thought they would reflect badly on the accuracy of his lens method. This prejudice made him cast aside and overlook what was probably the most important photo he ever took. What makes this photo so special? The night before this was taken, the notorious and still unidentified serial killer, known as the Axeman of New Orleans, had committed his last murder, hacking Mike Capitan to death in his bedroom, and then fleeing the scene just as Capitan's wife was discovering the body. Could this be him returning to his residence? It's impossible to say, but if it is, the image appears to dial the legend based on the shaky testimony of Pauline and Mary Bruno and prevailing prejudice at the time that only a black man was capable of such savagery. Photo 5 of 14. The Grand Tavern's Cryptids. This photo was taken in 1895 by an amateur spelunker slash photographer named Oren Jeffries while exploring an unmapped section of Grand Caverns in southwestern Virginia. At the time it was taken, Jeffries was conducting photographic experiments using super long exposures to see if anything at all could be captured in the total absence of light, otherwise known as cave darkness. He would situate himself on level ground, extinguish his lantern, and then open the lens of his homemade box camera. For as long as he could stand in the darkness, during one of his experiments, he heard something approach from the deeper recesses of the cave. Finally, Jeffries abandoned his experiment and set off one of the lift leech flashes he used for taking traditional photos underground. According to the report he later gave at a local newspaper, Jeffries saw 3 humanoid creatures staring at him from the shadows, took off running in the other direction, and didn't stop running until there was no sign. Several days later, he returned with 3 other men to retrieve his box camera. This is the image that was recorded on the film itself. Photo 6 of 14, the Harlow twins. 1938, Evergreen Park, Illinois, outside of Chicago. Billy and Stevie Harlow were riding in the front seat with their mother Tammy when their Ford sedan collided head-on with a Chrysler. During the collision, the car spun in such a way as to impact 2 additional vehicles. Tammy Harlow survived, but the boys were ejected through the windshield, killed instantly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to end stream because I'm just lagging that badly that co-op bots aren't even. They won't die. I'll shoot at them, then my character will freeze, and I'll die. That goes home. Just because of that, it keeps happening. So yeah, I think that's enough for the stream. Probably stream again later. I'll keep grinding until it stops lagging. No stream. But yeah, see you in a bit. Hey, the stream just reached 1 hour.